In this video, I'm going to share with you the difference between an MDMA trip and MDMA therapy. My name is Alice. I'm from A Whole New High. Welcome to our channel. So MDMA is a substance that when you take it, it will shoot the serotonin that you have into your brain. It takes your own serotonin from your body that your body stores and then shoots it to your system. I'm not a scientist, so you better look that up, but it is the serotonin that the MDMA works on. Serotonin is the love hormone. It's one of the love hormones. So what happens is that you feel amazing. You feel light, you feel loved, you feel like the best day of your life. You feel like there's no more resistance holding you back. Self-doubt leaves you, all of this. So when people take it at a party or for fun, it's an amazing substance to have a lot of fun because it takes away all the resistance you have towards fun. And if you are at the festival and you hear the music, you can really hear the music, you can feel the music. It just feels so beautiful. You don't feel inhibited to dance, you don't care about what other people think. You can just be fully yourself and let go and loose. And yeah, that's what an MDMA trip feels like. But you can have a bad MDMA trip too if you take it at the party, because sometimes, because there's no resistance and it brings you in touch with the feelings that you're holding inside of your system subconsciously, often like suppressed feelings. So if you take MDMA, what can happen is that suddenly you feel extremely anxious, or that you feel extremely scared, or that you feel extremely angry, and then you're at the party in a really wrong environment and don't know how to handle these emotions because they just come up and you can't control them because there's no more resistance to them and they just want to be released from your subconscious mind and want to be felt. So it's really important to have a safe container to hold space for these emotions, for anything that can come up on MDMA. But this bad trip on MDMA it doesn't happen so often. Mostly, that's why it's like a very common party drug. Also, for those who don't know, MDMA is the main substance in ecstasy. Ecstasy also has usually a little bit of speed in it, and sometimes a little bit of rat poison or whatever mixed in with it. So the tablets you get, the ecstasy tablets, what makes you feel good is the MDMA in them, and then what makes you feel awake is the speed in them. So MDMA is a very hard opening substance. That's why we see people at festivals that go and hug strangers, or they share whatever they have and they love everything and everyone, and it's just wonderful. I have taken MDMA at festivals too, and it is a really beautiful experience, which of course I don't recommend because it's an illegal substance. But now MDMA therapy is very different than taking MDMA at a festival, of course. And MDMA as a therapeutic substance has shown amazing results in clinical studies that the organization MAPS, you can look that up, in the United States has done it since 87. 87 MAPS was founded, and they have fought their way through to make MDMA a legal substance for therapy, and they're just almost there to legalize MDMA for therapeutic reasons. And if you take MDMA for therapy, it's a whole other experience because, of course, you are not in a crowd, you are not dancing, usually. I mean, some cases you would dance because that's what you need to do in that moment, but you're definitely not dancing in a crowd of people. And you do it with an intention, because usually you do it because you want to cure something. You can have you have a depression, you have PTSD. It's, yeah, you can have just you can feel stuck, have a problem, and don't know which direction to go. Can have relationship problems, all of that. And MDMA is an amazing substance to use for therapy because it makes you feel so good, and it makes you lose all your resistance, and it makes you trust when you usually don't trust because of past experience. You project things onto your therapist and can't trust him or her. And when you're under the influence of MDMA, it doesn't mean you're just going around and trust anyone and would trust a criminal, but you will see that if you didn't trust them because it was your own projection, your own fear from the past, you will know that. You lose any shame that you usually feel towards sharing something from your past. Things just become non-judgmental. You become very non-judgmental, and it becomes much easier to speak about trauma from your past. It also becomes much easier to remember trauma that you usually suppress and don't even go near. For me, I have done MDMA therapy myself. It feels like MDMA is like a hug from an absolutely loving mother that makes you feel so safe that you can now share the things that you never dared to share before because you always felt unsafe. And that's why it has shown amazing results for people with PTSD. And in regular therapy, when they tried to go near the moment where the trauma, the PTSD started, like some traumatic moment of their past, it was so hard. Their whole system, their whole mind, their whole nervous system would keep them from going there because it would signal danger, 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 danger. Don't think about it, don't remember it, it is dangerous. And when you're on MDMA, it activates another part of your brain, and now you can really walk into the direction of that trauma, talk about it, re-experience it, let go of any emotions that you have been holding on to for years that have been unprocessed. You can process them on MDMA. So it's an amazing substance and has shown really, really incredible results for healing post-traumatic stress disorder. With depression, there have not been many studies, but with depression, it doesn't work as well because it works on the serotonin in your system, and people with depression could, the depletion, like the days after MDMA, your body needs to reproduce the serotonin that it has used for the MDMA journey. And that can be really difficult for people who have a depression because they already have low serotonin, and it can hit them quite hard, the difference from coming from the high to the low. So it's not the best substance for depression. Psilocybin would be a better substance for depression because it doesn't deplete your body from serotonin. But MDMA, an amazing substance for PTSD, also for anxiety, to go to the root core, like to the root of the problem, to go trauma from your past. And it is so easy how this trauma just shows itself when you're not resistant to it. You have memories that feel like you've always had them. You know they've always been there, but you have always turned your head into the other direction to not remember them. And if you then have the help of your therapist, who is usually not going to do much during the session unless you need something, it can be a very healing experience. So to give you an example of the role of a therapist, is like sometimes people might just be in their journey for the 6 hours of the MDMA trip and go through one healing experience of the other. Like you activate your inner healer and you go, you just know what to do. But the therapist is there in case you really need to share something. Like often that's part of the healing experience, is to release yourself from a burden of sharing something that you have never shared because of shame, because of fear. That just really needs to be shared with someone else. Sometimes you might need a hug, or you will just throughout the journey know what you need for your emotional healing, and the therapist will be there to give that to you, of course with consent, the therapist. So this is the difference between an MDMA journey and an MDMA therapy. Two very different experiences, but what they have in common is that feeling of leaving all resistance behind, being non-judgmental towards yourself and others, and just being and feeling, and the differences I just explained. If there are any other differences that you think I didn't talk about, please comment below. If you have experienced MDMA therapy, I would love to hear about it. I always love to hear about MDMA therapy experiences from people. I find them fascinating. And if you have any other questions, let us know. If you loved the video, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. And I hope to see you again. Thank you.